3 months ago, I was grinding away at a job making about $3,000 a month. Today, I'm making over $50,000 every single month. And here's the crazy part. I don't own a single property. Sounds impossible, right? But it's not. It's called Airbnb Arbitrage, and it completely changed my life. So if you're stuck in a job that you hate, or if you just want to create another stream of income, watch this video until the end, and I'm going to break down exactly how you can go from $0 to $50,000 per month in just 90 days without owning a single property. So let's start with phase 1, finding your very first property. The biggest mistake people make, they just pick something cheap and hope it works. That's literally a recipe for failure. Instead, you want to target areas which are within 15 meters of big demand drivers, airports, business districts, major attractions, or tourist hotspots. That's where the guests already want to be. Now, here's the math that you should remember. Your Airbnb revenue should be at least 2 to 3x your rent amount. So if your rent is $3,000 a month, you should be aiming for $6,000 to $9,000 in revenue as a minimum. Now, tools like AirDNA can show you exactly what other hosts are making in your area, and realestate.com or other local listings will show you the rental prices. Cross-reference the two and you'll quickly see which locations make sense. Now, this is where most people get stuck, convincing a landlord or an agent to let you do Airbnb. You've got to present yourself like a professional business, not just some random person who wants to sublease their property. So you need to make sure that you've got a business name, professional email, and prepare a one-page proposal. You got to include things like market data, your proof of insurance, how you're going to keep the property in pristine condition all year round. Now, when you're reaching out, look at realestate.com, Facebook Marketplace, or even your local real estate groups. And when you negotiate, don't be afraid to offer 2 or 3 months rent upfront or commit to a longer lease to get better terms. And most importantly, get it in writing that you can host on Airbnb and other short-term rental platforms. That way you're fully protected. So now you've got your first property, and now it's time to set it up. Budget about $3,000 to $5,000 for furniture and essentials. The golden rule here is spend where it matters most to guests. Make sure you spend about 40% of that budget on your bedding and mattress, because if guests don't sleep well, you'll definitely get bad reviews. 25% on a solid living area, 20% on kitchen basics, and 15% on decor and other extras. You want to shop smart. Use IKEA for basics, Facebook Marketplace for unique items, and always think about how it's going to look in the photos, because your photos is what's going to sell your place out. Now, speaking of photos, don't cheap out here. Hire a professional Airbnb photographer for $200-300 and get at least 25 high quality images. Now, I'm talking wide angle shots, good lighting, every room, small details. Your listing is your storefront, and this is how you're going to stand out. Now, when you launch, set your pricing about 10% below the competition to get early bookings, and then use dynamic pricing tools to adjust. After you rack up some 5-star reviews, then you can start to raise your rates up. Now, this is where it gets fun. Automation and scaling. You don't want to be glued to your phone answering guest questions 24/7. Set up automated messaging, so your check-in instructions, your checkout instructions, frequently asked questions and checkout reminders. And then use smart locks so that guests can check in and check out without you needing to be there. Now, for operations, line up 2 to 3 cleaning teams, a lockbox system, and a local maintenance contact list. That way, if anything breaks, you're not running around in panic mode. You know exactly who you need to speak to and who needs to be there to rectify those issues. On the financial side, open a separate business bank account, track every expense for taxes, and review your profit margins monthly. You need to treat it like a real business, because it is. Now, when it comes to scaling, my scaling strategy was simple. Month 1, perfect the first property. Month 2, add a second. Month 3, add 2 to 3 more. I reinvested about 70% of my profits into new properties and kept about 30% for myself and taxes. Pretty soon I had a team, a virtual assistant for guest communication, a local property manager to handle inspections and on-the-ground issues. And that's how it went from 1 unit to 10 plus units in under 90 days. All right, now let me give you some real numbers from my own journey. My first property cost me about $5,800 all in, and my month 1 revenue was about $7,500. My net profit after everything was about $2,700. So that's about a 47% return in a single month from just one property. Fast forward 90 days, I had over 10 plus properties, $50,000 in revenue, and this was in winter, which was meant to be the slower period of the year. And I was only working about 10 hours a week. And that's when I knew that this was the real deal. Now, before you jump in, let me save you some headaches. Here are the biggest mistakes I see beginners make. Number one is picking a cheap property instead of a good location. Number two, ignoring local Airbnb regulations. Number three is trying to do everything yourself without any systems or processes in place. Number four is underpricing just to get bookings. And worst of all, not factoring in comfort in your furniture, just trying to find the cheapest thing possible. Trust me, I made all of these mistakes when I first started, and it cost me thousands and thousands of dollars. So that's exactly how I built a $50,000 per month Airbnb business in under 90 days without owning a single property. If you follow this step by step, there's no reason why you can't get similar results. But I'm gonna be real here. Trying to do this completely alone is way harder than it needs to be. You'll run into landlord objections, setup mistakes, and wasted months trying to figure out what actually works. That's why I put together my mentorship program, where I personally walk you through finding your first property, pitching landlords, and setting up everything and scaling fast. If you're serious about changing your life, DM me the word Airbnb on Instagram. The link's in my description, and I'll send you all the details about how you can get started. Now, this is for people who are ready to put the work in. If that's you, let's make the next 90 days the best 90 days of your life. Thanks for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell for more strategies on building wealth without owning property. And I'll see you in the next video.